What is up, everyone? This is OJ over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to another Nintendo NX video that I have for you guys, bringing you, of course, the latest news, rumors, and discussion on the Nintendo NX. So let's go ahead and get right into this video here. I want to talk about how Nintendo is in the beginning stages and what I feel that they need to do to completely rebuild their image and their brand. So just to bring up a couple of things, Nintendo has since removed the Wii U and 3DS labels in stores. When you go into stores to buy your Wii U and Nintendo 3DS games, you see it under one section as Nintendo. This is a very smart thing to do as far as rebuilding their image and getting rid of these confusing names. 2DS, 3DS, new Nintendo 3DS, Wii U, Wii, all of this stuff is jumbled. It's jumbled and it tells because people are not buying Nintendo products like they used to buy Nintendo products. There might be some confusion out there. Now, I don't think that's the main thing, but as far as a marketing standpoint, this is a very good idea to rebuilding the image, rebuilding people's perception of Nintendo, which I'll get into later. Now, perception is a little bit harder to do than just simply marketing. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but I want to talk more about marketing. There needs to be a clear focus for this next system, the Nintendo NX. What is the product? Who is this product for? How will you play this product and what it offers? Is this product really drastically different from what you're trying to do beforehand? Is this product completely new? How does this product relate to what's already out on the market? And how are you going to be affected while playing this game? And what does it offer better than the competitors? Not just different, but what does it offer better? From a technical perspective, from a functionality perspective, it needs to be competitive, and the marketing needs to analyze that and make sure they put that into whatever message that they're trying to say. There's no point in saying, look at our product that we have here. It's actually worse than the other products that are on the market, but we have some stuff that you guys might like. And that's kind of how Nintendo went out with the Wii U. It's kind of missing a lot of stuff that the PS3 and Xbox 360 have, but it's completely different. Look at this gamepad. That's the thing. When you're marketing something, you need to let people know why it's better, what it can do over the other systems on the market. Otherwise, the competitors are just going to go out there and say, hey, we can do what you can do, and we can do more. And that's pretty much what happened, even with the PS3 and Xbox 360, with Smart Glass and the PS Vita remote play. Was it necessarily better? Not necessarily, but Sony and Microsoft still went out there and said that, and they already have the backing of millions of Xbox and PlayStation fans to begin with. So that's one thing that Nintendo really needs to make sure that they nail down with marketing. Don't shy away from letting the competitors and letting everyone know what this system can do when you are marketing it. Make sure you let people know as far as the technical specifications and how this system can improve upon what's already out. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how you'll play. They need to make sure that it's a standardized version of play. I understand there are some Nintendo fans left over from the Wii and Wii U era that love the motion controls or love moving around something, but the thing about it is that that is not a standardized way of playing for a console, especially when you're talking about kids or adults. People want to sit down and play their games, and if you have something crazy to sell them, sell that on the side. That's one thing that Nintendo really needs to nail down with this marketing. They can have some type of cool gimmick as far as what they want to do, but don't add that to the price inside the box. Otherwise, you're going to have some issues like you had with the Wii U. Now, moving on to perception. This is probably the most important thing as far as Nintendo rebuilding their image with Nintendo NX. I like what they're doing with the whole branding of Nintendo and the red. That's good. It sets them apart from everyone else. But the perception, as far as Nintendo goes with gamers, it's killing them. The Wii and the Wii U's perception is really bad. It's looked at as a kiddie system. Now, is that necessarily true? It's up to whoever's interpretation. However, the perception is that this system is kiddie, and this kiddie perception needs to go, and it needs to go quick. Now, how do you remove this kiddie perception? You can do marketing, and marketing is always great, but it always comes down to word of mouth, what people are saying on the internet, and the games that you release. The proof is in the pudding. You can't only have a couple games, oh, Bayonetta here, and then you also have Devil's Third there, and a couple other different things. No, you need to have a little bit more of a balance as far as mature games with good storylines and themes. It can't be completely slided over to the E10 or the PG-13 crowd, whereas the mature crowd, as far as 17 or 18 and up, don't get anywhere near as much. There needs to be more games with the storylines and the mature themes of a Bayonetta or a Devil's Third. And you need to have less games like a Game & Wario, where there's really no reason or no emotional attachment to play this game other than some type of gimmick that you're using for the game. This has been proven for them to not help sell systems. Now, here's some interesting statistics. Nintendo themselves released back in 2013 or 2014, something like that, that over 90% of the people who are purchasing Wii U games and all that are in the 18 to 35 range. Well, if that's the case, what is all of this content that they're putting out that's all of the cartoonish and not having more of the mature themes? That's where your audience is. Your audience is in that 18 to 35% category. Now, here's the thing. Getting rid of the kids is not a good idea. Obviously, you want to make sure that you have kids playing your system and they grew up with it. However, you need to make sure that you offer them those bridge titles as they get older, and that's the thing I think Nintendo has not done correctly. Yes, they're very good at pulling some kids in and having them play, but when they get older, what is there left? Are they going to want to play Mario Kart until they're older? Maybe, maybe not, but you need to have a better balance, like I said, just to make sure, just in case that they don't want to play Mario anymore, that they have more stuff to play. Now, here's another thing. A recent report actually showed that less than 25% of kids who go inside car trips with their parents and all that want to play Nintendo portables or handhelds or things like that. They're playing tablets and smartphones. The tablet and smartphone revolution, it's not going anywhere. It's going to overtake completely at some point. That's one thing that we do know. And if we ever get kids playing 3DS, it's going to have something to where the console games or to where something, some type of hook to get them back in. But this tablet and mobile thing is here to stay. It is here to stay. So I really think that Nintendo, one, needs to obviously focus on getting their mobile games to those kids, which they're currently doing, and it looks like it's working for the most part. But two, they need to make sure that they don't spend too much time in a losing battle. And that's the thing. Are you going to beat the massive Apple and Samsung and all of these tablet companies and smartphone companies that you're fighting against? No, you're not going to beat them. So I think the best thing that they can do is really still market and make games for the younger audience, but also make games for the kids who want to be like the older audience. And that's the next thing that I want to talk about. Today's kids are different from the 90s kids. Little kids. When I was little, I played games that were intended for more of a mature audience. I played all the shooting games. I did all that. Now, today's kids, it's kind of broken up. You have the really little kids who just kind of play the stuff for the little kids, which is easy on tablets and smartphones. They're moving their finger around, they're swiping, they're touching stuff. And then you have the kids that kind of grow up a little bit, the 9, 10, 11-year-olds that want to play Call of Duty at this point. And they are raised with Call of Duty. They were raised in the Xbox 360 generation and the PS3 generation, and Call of Duty was something that they played, and their parents were completely fine with them playing those games. And I think that's where Nintendo somewhat missed the boat. Now, Sony's even said themselves, hey, we've actually taken a lot of those people that were on the Wii when they were younger and converted them over to our PlayStation 4, which is probably true considering how much PlayStation 4 is sold compared to Wii U. It seems like those kids that grew up with the Wii necessarily aren't buying Wii U's. And today's kids, they definitely want to play those shooting games. They want to play those more mature themed games, and Nintendo necessarily has not provided that option for them. Now, it might go against Nintendo's company culture, but they really need to look into how they're going to make more games as far as a balance goes, because whether we like it or not, there are going to be kids who aren't mature, who aren't in the mature age bracket, that are going to be playing stuff like Resident Evil, that are going to be playing stuff like The Last of Us, that are going to be playing stuff like Uncharted 4, and not necessarily that Nintendo needs to market to them, but they need to have those games there if those kids want to play those games on their system. And when your system is constantly being looked at from a perception standpoint, guys, now like I said, this is not anything that I'm trying to say is like 100% true. I'm just saying from a perception standpoint, it seems to me like lots of kids are just labeling Nintendo's system as kiddie because they look at Game & Wario, they look at the 2D platformers, they look at Mario, then they see what the other systems are doing, and they see like the shooters and Call of Duties and Battlefields and all of that and say, well, I want to play that when I get older. So that's the one thing that I think Nintendo just needs to look at. Things are very different from the Game Boy days. Things are very different from the NES days. So it's one of those things where Nintendo not necessarily stop making platformers and stuff that they're good at, but they need to just make sure that there's a way better balance, because within the first year of the Wii U, pretty much all you got was cartoonish looking games that could be played by a mature audience, could be played by kids, but they need to make sure that there's a little bit more balance as far as how it looks. Pretty much all we got was stuff like Pikmin, we got Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, Super Mario 3D World, we got New Super Mario Bros, we got Nintendo Land, we got Lego City. There really wasn't much variety as far as aesthetics goes, mature themed games in that first year. And that first year, as far as perception goes a long way to telling how your system is going to do in the future. And I think that was the one thing that got Nintendo bodied this generation, definitely, was the perception of their system, and of course the value of their system. People just not thinking the gamepad was actually worth it. Now, the funny thing is that Sony is not seen as a kiddie console. Sony's not seen as a kiddie company. The PS4 is not seen as a kiddie console, I should say. Yet Sony still says, we got games for kids, and Sony still actively markets the kids, yet nobody brings that up. The other day, there was actually even like a bunch of different games they put on their YouTube channel. Hey, look, check out all these games for kids. You know, and that's the one thing that people don't really talk about when it comes to Sony, is that Sony's actively involved in kids too. The only thing is that they have a better balance as far as their first party IPs with stuff like Horizon Zero Dawn, Bloodborne, Until Dawn, things like that, The Order 1886, stuff like that, that pretty much balances things out between their kids games and their younger themed games and their mature games. And Nintendo just needs to try to find that right balance that Microsoft and Sony has found, because at this point, the research kind of shows that kids are buying PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones. And there are a lot of people that I've spoken to, not saying that this factors into it, that are buying their children, because I'm getting to that age where they're all having children that are playing video games and stuff. They're buying their children PS4s and Xbox Ones because they want to play the sports games, they want to play the games that the older kids are playing as well. So I think the perception, the whole brand marketing, all of that has to play into a part as far as how Nintendo attacks the market with the Nintendo NX. I don't think they can come to the market with minigame collections. I don't think they can come to the market with a bunch of 2D platformers. They really need to make sure that they bring out their IPs, and that's why I said before, I understand that some of these IPs have not sold as well in the past, like for example like a Metroid or like Eternal Darkness, but Nintendo needs to reinvent these IPs for the new generation of games today. Progression systems, guys. Progression systems. They need to reinvent these IPs. They need to make sure they look good, and they need to market the hell out of them as something that's a new experience that you can play, and that will get kids to jump on board, in addition to getting the adults that they already have as far as the age range goes to get and buy the Nintendo NX. It's going to be a huge undertaking. There's going to be a lot of stuff that Nintendo has to do. I think new IPs also have to be in development, new mature themed IPs. I'm not saying that Nintendo should lose their way as far as marketing to children or as far as making the kid aesthetic themed games. They still have stuff like Splatoon, they still have stuff like Super Mario Maker. Like I said before, I just want to make sure I make this clear that there just needs to be a far better balance, because if you compare the games, the minigame collections and platformers and cartoonish like games compared to Nintendo's more mature themed games like Fatal Frame or Bayonetta or Devil's Third, it's greatly outnumbered to the cartoonish aesthetic over the mature themed aesthetic. So I just think there needs to be a little bit better balance there. Alright guys, that basically wraps it up for this video here. I just wanted to talk a little bit as far as what Nintendo can do from a marketing perception standpoint to kind of turn the tides as far as from Wii U. Let me know what you guys think that they can do in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And also subscribe to PlayerEssence for more news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks, and everything on Nintendo and the Nintendo NX. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next video. Peace.